And welcome back, everyone. Even after the September 11th terrorist attacks, I think terrorist attacks seem like something that happened over there. But after the attacks in Paris and San Bernardino, California, that feeling of safety has been shattered for most of us. American people in this country legally radicalized overseas, and then they come back. Our next guest gives us an insight into terrorists, who they are, and what can be done to fight them. They have written a book called The Weapons of Mass Destruction, or The Weapons of Mass Psychological Destruction. Retired Colonel Larry James joins me along with Terry Orsi. First of all, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Rob.
In terms of writing this book, why did you think that the time was now? I've read research that said every concerned citizen should read it. Why do you think they said that?
Well, because it seems as though this is a growing problem in our country. It's like every other week we're reading reports about some new young man or young woman is being radicalized to terrorism. And Rob, this enemy that we're facing now is an expert at using the mind, the psychological aspects of a human being as a terror weapon.
Well, when we think about, Terry, when we think about weapons of mass destruction, we think dirty bombs, we think suicide bombers. We don't necessarily think of people, but we should, don't you think?
Absolutely.
How so?
The psychology of the terrorism use psychology. They use fear, and if they can create fear in the public, that's actually more damaging than a dirty bomb that would maybe kill 10 people.
So here's a question for you. Do you think we're falling into their hands in terms of being fearful?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, the media plays a big part in this.
Sure.
Rob, can I give you an example? When I was chief of mental health at Walter Reed, there were 3 anthrax attacks at the post office we had there. And even though the hazmat teams had, said these places are clear, we've gotten rid of all the anthrax, about 50% of the employees refused to come back to work up to 6 months after the facility was deemed completely safe.
And that's that fear you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Do you think we're more scared in this country because we're not used to living in these times?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is really relatively still new for us. We're talking about a decade or more, whereas in, places overseas, the citizens, international citizens have been dealing with this for generations.
You said the gestation of this book happened in the summer of 2013. Terry, you said it was like the peanut butter cup, like the peanut butter and chocolate coming together. You're an expert on weapons of mass destruction. You're an expert when it comes to the mind.
Absolutely.
Why do you think it came together so well when writing this book?
Dr. James was actually doing a webinar for my Weapons of Mass Destruction program. And we decided to banter back on which weapon of mass destruction, chem, bio, rad, nuke, caused the most psychological damage. So we polled the students, and it was unanimous that biological weapons create more of a scare. And
that is probably what terrorists want, correct?
Right. Absolutely. Like Ebola. Imagine yourself coming back from Europe, when it was announced about the Ebola scare in Africa. Rob, also think about the when the Terry and I were first getting together to do this. It was right around the time of the Boston Marathon bombing.
Sure.
Those were really unsophisticated bombs, not designed to kill millions of people. But yet, those small bombs paralyzed a community of over 10 million people.
I absolutely understand what you're saying. So not only do you take us into the minds of people who are radicalized, many of them Americans.
Absolutely.
You also have ideas on how to prevent or make yourself less susceptible to terrorist attacks. Right. What are some of the things we can be doing?
Well, I think, first of all, one of the primary things these people want to do is to change our way of life. Stop us from the average American doing going to the mall, going to work, being involved in taking the kids out of school. We need to be about the business of not, be prudent in terms of safety, but be very, very firm about doing the things that make America great and doing these everyday things.
Agree. Education. This is really about educating the public, because if they know that fear is the primary goal, we can educate them and
be less fearful.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, be less fearful.
I'll tell you what, this book is a perfect place to start in terms of being less fearful. The book is called Weapons of Mass Psychological Destruction and the People Who Use Them. Retired Colonel Larry James and Terry Orsi wrote the book. We want to tell you that there's going to be an event where you can meet both of them, January 21st in the Endeavor Room at Wright State University, beginning at 7 p.m. And we have that information on our website, fox19now.com. Colonel James, Terry, all the best to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
We actually have quite a few experts, both in WMD and in psychology, that have contributed to this book. We are the editors and authors, but we have quite a few contributing authors. Several are faculty at Wright State and all over the country.
So once again, this book is a great place to start in terms of not being fearful and educating ourselves. All the best to you guys.
Thank you so much.